Hi, everyone. So as you all know, Qlik just launched its new write back feature. So now we have this native component that you can add to your sheets and then starting to write back. So it's quite easy how you can implement that. But I see a lot of questions about how can you save permanently this data somewhere and so today in this video, what we are going to do is to load data from a Postgres database and load this data into in Qlik, add some write back columns to it, and then store those chains as a QVD file and also inside a Snowflake table. So let's start, right? So I create this analytics application here called Playground Write Back. So let's take a look on the code. The code is quite simple. I will not jump into details because I'm assuming you are all familiar with most of those things. So then my code just have a connection to a Postgres database called Pagilla. It's very popular. And then I'm reading this film table. So just load the data. I already have this data loaded, so not bring new records to me. So let's wait a little bit. Okay, so we have 1,000 rows. Then I go here to the sheets. I already have created one, and I already have created the write back part. But let's review what we have here, okay? So I go to the edit mode. So here I have created the new write back components with the columns that are important to me. So film ID, title, length, rating, release. And then I have included two write back columns. One's called watched, so if I watched the movie or not, and the notes. So then if you click here on the expression, and if you go to change store, you see Qlik have created for you automatically, have assigned to you a change store ID. So every time we include write back table, it will have a change store ID. Okay, so we have to keep this in hand. Because it will be necessary for us to use it to store the data. Then you have to assign a primary key. So how you're going to identify your chains uniquely and associate it to your loaded records. So that's quite important. You must have a unique ID, otherwise we will not be able to assign the changed records to your row. So you must have a unique ID. It can be a text, could be an integer, can be a composition of fields, can be anything. It just needs to be unique, okay? The data, it's very similar to the straight table, the way it functions. So include the new fields, and then when you click on add, you can add an editable column. Those are the write back columns. If you see here, I have included this watched, and this one, I changed it a little bit to be able to include to be a single selection. So you make available a list of values that you can select, or a manual user input. This is like a free text. So right now this is very limited. Especially if you compare with tools like Infinite Forms. Infinite Forms is very robust on all the controls that they have available. So right now, for this one, we just have mode selection where you can predefine the values and or a free text. So good. All right. Then I have those two. I have the watched, a single column is a yes or no, and notes is just a manual free text input. Okay. So then I have included a few things here. So then I have 3 records here, and that's it. So these are already included in my in my database here. So I'm not going to save here because I did a few things in advance. But let's take around, okay, how can I move those records to a Snowflake database? I know it's a big jump, but let's do it here. So I have created an automation here. So automation now, if you're familiar with automations, and if you go to Qlik Cloud Services, you see a few new blocks, right? So they change. So you have list change stores, list change story history, and list current change from changed store. So this one is where we use the most. So what's different about this one? So the list current change is just list the current state of all your chains. So if you have changed a column like this multiple times, so Qlik keeps records of every single change. And then this automation here just returns its current state. So it ignores everything else that was modified. If you need to see every single change, you have to use this list change store history. So this one, you bring every single change about that record. So then you see a record ID. What are the chains? You have multiple sub nodes inside the structure, seeing historical chains for that row. This one is the one that's probably the most used one. This one right here, the list change history, you'll be interesting if you are willing to keep like a type 2 change, so you can see how the record look past month. So you can use this one. And list change stores is just about listing all the change stores, those objects here in your space. It requires a space ID, so it can pass this here space ID and to return to you all the change stores that you have on that space. I'm not quite sure how we can use this for now, but it's there. All right. So for the ones, okay, then all right. So then, okay, so I use this node here to add my store ID. So then I have the store ID here. So this is, you get, you can copy here, or you can also copy here. So there will be a small, if you click on the information, you see the change store ID. So you can copy that. And then you can use here. So, or you can also do the do look. There's no lookup. Okay, so you need to know the storage. You can work with the filters, but in my case here, I'm just doing everything. All right. So now, what is my process here? So I have included a do reload, a do query, and this is by the way, this is a Snowflake block. So if you look at Snowflake tree here, you have multiple blocks. I could use delete record, but then I say, okay, I'm just cleaning up my entire database, my entire table, and then adding the new records. So everything. So every time that I make a change, I delete all the records and I insert new ones. Maybe this will not be effective if you have a large amount of records. Then you can work with the parameters here. So you update at given time, do some sort of incremental load. So you have to, you'll be more tricky to do that. But it's totally doable. I'm just doing the lazy way just to show how you can do it. But then you can manipulate further if you have a specific demand. Okay, so let's go back to the do query. Do query, I'm just going a delete in this table here that I have created, the film write back. Talking about the write back, let me show you the way I have set up my table in Snowflake. So here I have my Snowflake database, and here I have how I name the columns. So I was having some hard time to do the inserts because the name of the columns must match the JSON file returned during the list current chains. So if you go to the list current chains during your history, you can copy the names of the fields, and then you can create a table using exactly the same name fields. So we have to create a table using that. So for example, notes, this field right here is this field, but then Qlik's associate ID to this column. So that's the unique ID of this column. Same for watched. Watched also includes the unique ID of this field. And film, it doesn't have a unique ID because it's the key field. And then you have the update at and updated by. So for this solution, you must have the same names. So it's case sensitive. So you have to do that. So just use a create table statement, and then you have to use the exact same name convention. All right. So this is by the way, this is a sample of the table already populated. I can delete the whole thing and see this working. So I'll just check here again. So there is nothing, so it's empty. So I didn't need to do that because my automation will do this action. So let's recap. So I'm doing here a delete. So I just clean the table, the film right back. Then I capture the list of chains. And then I do this insert bulk to pass here all the list of the current chains as a JSON object. So it supports a JSON object. And then you have to pass the table name. And one step that I forgot to mention is the connection. So every time you do a connection to a component that requires a connection, you have to create it. So in our case, you can specify where you want to create which space you're going to create the automation connection. In my case, I have created here this one, and then you have all the parameters here. So you have to type your account name using this standard here, your username, your password, your database, warehouse, in the role, and that's it. And again, let me do this one. And then this will be available for other users to use the same connection. So it belongs to a space. People needs to have access to the space in order to use the connection. All right. So, and finally, I set my trigger, my automation to run at the end of the app reload. So when my app reload finished, the one that I have created here, playground right back, it will execute this automation. So let's try it. I'll go here. I'm not sure if the reload here, you trigger the automation. Let's see. Because this automation here doesn't create the reload object, so it may not trigger the automation. Okay. So, all right. So nothing changed here. So we didn't add anything. The only thing we did was to reload the application. Okay. So because I have reload the application, I'm expecting this to have trigger. Okay. So it's 12:21, 12:21. So if you click here, you can also run manually. So I go back here. So then you can see the blocks. So the app reload finished. So it triggered this block. So you can see what happened here. And then you have the delete all records. And then it lists all the chains. If I go here to the chains, so this is what I'm talking about. So the JSON column is like that. So you have the column name plus its unique ID. and the value. So this is a JSON. So film ID, blah, blah, blah. Then if you go here, add more, we can navigate through the chains. And then finally, you have the insert bulk. If you go here, so the block receives all the list of chains. And then the output was just how many records was inserted. Now, if I go back to my Snowflake, where is it? If I go back here and then I read my query, I can see that the records are right here. So I have included back. So, all right, good. Okay, what if I add more chains? So let's go back and see if that works. I go back to my UI. Let's give it some time. So I go include 2 more records. So here I say no, no, not interested. Okay. All right, let me see it. Okay, so then I save it. This is not reloading. So if I go back to Snowflake, nothing happened. So I can see here, nothing. And if I go back to the automation, nothing happened because I haven't reloaded the application. So if I reload the application, I will go, instead of going here now, let me try from here to see if that also triggers. So you can go refresh data button. So just click here. So this is another way to reload the application. So if you didn't know about it, now you know it. Okay. So let's see. Okay, finish it. Then if I go back here to the automation, yes, 12:24. So that was the last one. Check here. And then I'm expecting here to see 5 in the output. Yes. And then if I go here to my Snowflake, and if I execute again, all right. So then you have all the 5 records here. So they're not interested 1, not interested 1. So ID 5 and 4. So it's all here. So now what that means, as we all know, the chains here in the write back, it lasts for 90 days, right? And then this is how you can get those chains and store permanently in your database. So you have to be, you can play around in, okay, how I do incremental loads, how I can, in Snowflake, so how can I manipulate this in a way to keep, if you want to keep the type 2 chains, like keeping all the historical records, you can use the same kind of automation and manipulate the components. How you reload your application to save those chains, how you execute automation is up to you. So you can run at the end of the day, or you can run after every reload, every morning. So it's up to you. But these are the core elements that you need. You can even store on S3, S3 bucket, Google Drive, Google Sheets, whatever you have available here, you can use. All right. So, okay. Now, what about QVDs? Can I store this as a QVD or a Parquet file or text file? Yes. Okay. So, let's do, so in order to do that, you can do this in the same application here, or you can also do in another application. It's up to you. So you can make this everything together, or just, okay, I have usually I like to separate concepts, like one just to get the data and store as a QVD builder. But in this case, just to keep things simple, I will add in the same application. But I do not recommend. I recommend doing a separate one, because this is it's not a dashboard application. It should be even data preparation application. So it's more appropriate for that. But for now, let's do this way. So I do here, and then I'm going to create a write back as QVD. Okay. So the very first thing we need, okay, how can I capture those records? So what's behind this? So this is the same as you have here. So all the automation blocks are executing REST APIs. Okay. So if you go here to the show endpoint, you can see the endpoint here. So that's the endpoint you need. So then you have the get method. And again, for the ones that know my approach, I always prefer to use Postman to try new stuff. So if I'm working with APIs, I definitely recommend using Postman. So you can make it work on Postman. And if it works on Postman, it works everywhere. Okay. So anywhere. So I'll go here to my R&D. This is my Qlik Cloud tenant where I have everything set up. I will just add one here. Import, actually, not import. So the new HTTP. Okay, that's the URL. And then I have here some variables set up on my, really? Let me save first. Okay, that's why. Organize me. Save. All right. Then I'm now it's in the right place. Let me paste again. So domain UB, my domain. Okay. So this is just the URL to my tenant. Okay. The store ID, that's the ID we have in the UI. So I'm gonna go back here. Let's try this way here. I never tried this one. So copy, paste the store ID here. My authentication is already set up, so I don't need to actually inherit from authentication from the parent. So I already have my token ID, but we don't worry about this now. This is just some features from Postman, and it's a get method. So let's try it. Hope everything works. Okay, perfect. So here we can start seeing some interesting things. Usually, what's the thing about REST APIs? So first is the connection, right? Let me change the name. Sorry, get change store. I can fix that later. So what's important about API? What you need to be concerned about? First, authentication, right? So if you did the Qlik Cloud authentication, it's quite straightforward. It's easy. So you just use a header authorization, and then you pass the token that you get from your Qlik tenants. And then the other one is the pagination. So Qlik, in most cases, uses this links, self, and ref. So if you have multiple chains, like if you have thousands of chains, you probably have to do pagination. Probably the limit here is 100 records. So if you have more than that, it will link through those chains. So you have to set up this pagination, okay? I think the documentation talks about it. So if you go here, sorry, I'm rushing a little bit, but you can pause the video and check. And we also have other videos about how to use APIs and pagination in Data Voyagers channel. So feel free to go there and see how can you do that. So I'm looking here for the, where is it? Okay, extracting using chains. Okay, probably this section here. And then it shows a little bit how can you do some of the stuff that we talk about. It just explained briefly about the change records. And finally here, I think we're close. So we have an example how we can use the REST API. So that's the URL that we have using. So this is about some of the query parameters that you can use. how you do the authentication, and how you do the next URL and change the pagination there. Okay, so perfect. It's working here. I can see the change. That's all I need. Now I know how. So it's working. So that's the important thing about Postman. You know, you have all the required information to make this work. So then let's do the same inside your Qlik application. So the first thing you need to do, I'm in this IPC DevOps space, is to create a new connection, and you're looking for the REST connection. So you go here, REST connection, and then the link. I'll copy here. This is the one. Of course, I cannot use this variable because it's a Postman stuff. So I go here on my root and take my variables, copy. Okay, let's go back there. Then I'm going to replace this with my URL. Then you have so the store change ID is here. It's hard coded, but you can always use allow with connection to overwrite that. So you can reuse this REST connection to call other change store IDs. So you don't have to create one REST connection for every single store ID, change store ID. So keep that in mind. I will call this, since I'm already here, I don't like this name. So get, I usually do this, get change stores. Okay. All right. What I'm missing the authentication. So it's authorization, bear here. So you need to do that, add a space, and you get your token. Okay. So my token is also stored here. I can go here, copy. If you never get a token in Qlik Cloud, so you can go here. Let me open another tab. So you go here to your analytics. You must have rights. I don't exactly remember which one, but I think it's to be a developer. And if you go to settings and API keys, you can generate a new API key, and you can copy that, assign a name, and then choose the duration, and then that's it. Save it, because otherwise you cannot restore it if you lost it. Okay. All right. Then good. So we're doing good. Now the next one, pagination. So you can type the pagination here. Is the next URL. So Qlik just provided this nicely. It's information that's not always easy to find. So copy that one. You can add it here. This links.href.next is nothing more than how you navigate to the JSON path. So links, in this case, we don't have a pagination. Let me try one thing here, because you see here, current page, total count. So let's try one. Let's play a little bit with this. Parameters. So we do limit. I'll do 1. So let's see how this will affect this change. Yes. So current page 1, total page 5. Then I have just one record, and then I have self href, and then finally we can see the links next href. So this is how we navigate to the next page. So Qlik have all this internal mechanism inside the this connector that supports pagination. So we can do that. And if I want to put that limit just to play around, we don't need that, right? And then 1, it's the same. So we're doing the same thing here. So instead of returning everything in one single request, it's just doing the pagination. I will keep it just for fun. You don't need that. Don't add that. Okay. Okay. Test connection. So if I'm testing, Again, this is executing the connection. It's sometimes kind of annoying. Okay, all right. So we have the connection to get our chains. Okay, good. So now let's see it, right? So I have the get chains. So I go to the select data. And then I always like to put no limits here so you can preview better the values here. Probably will not be a problem because I have just a few records. And then you can see just the first record, okay? Select the entire node just in case, insert, that's it. So you can keep this structure, it's okay, right? I usually don't add everything. You could remove this because it's not part of the data. Most part of the time, I don't even add a resident loads. After the load, you can add everything on top here. Like you can just go here and just do like that. There's no problem. But then you need to adjust the where clause. But let's keep it like that. And I will call the same as I have in my database. So film right back. Okay. I would just load the data and see how it looks now. Okay. Load the data. Again, we did the pagination, so I'm expecting to see 5 records, not 1, if the pagination is working. Let's see. Data model viewer always. Okay, let's see how many records. 1. Why? Maybe the pagination is not working. So let's see. Links next href. Okay, let's take a look again. What's the problem? Links next href. So the documentation is wrong. Okay. Okay. I'll add a note here to inform the documentation is wrong. Okay. All right. So test connection. Okay. Save. Run again. So we need to update this. This is wrong. The last one is the href. Okay. I think I can do from here. Yeah, I can do. I'll check. I'll take a look. All right. Okay. Come on. Is this thing not working? Okay, I figured out what's wrong. It's not dots, sorry. So it's next dot and this. Okay, that's the right value. Let me add here. So I have to report that, definitely. Save, test, okay. Let's reload again. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, 5, finally. Okay, now if I go back here, 5 records. Good. So now it's easy, right? So we have our table loaded, and if you need to store as a QVD file, I can store in this space. You can use the insert store statement, and then you can select the table, the film right back, and they will call film right back .qvd. You can do parquet, whatever you need. Insert. So then you just insert it at the end. That's it. So you're permanently storing your data. Again, you can always do incremental load techniques, anything that you need in order to see that, right? So again, I do not recommend doing this in your analytics application, because this is like it's not the purpose. It's not for analytics. So you can save that in a data preparation script. So you can just copy that this code here and paste there, and then you do the modifications that you need, and that's it, right? So now you can using automations, you can store your data into Snowflake and any other platform that supports storage here. Like I said, S3 and whatever. So the concepts are very similar to this one. Again, you can call the automation in many different ways. If you need this approach here, you can move this code to a separate QVD builder and do a chaining. So every time you load an application, your dashboard application, you can load this one. Now that you have both tables connected, you can also display your chains in your user interface. So just doing quickly, you can always add here to your table. The names are not nice, right? Because I didn't care about changing it. But then you can go add the notes and also add the watch it. So you add both here. So now you can see your current value versus the changed values. So if I now finally watch this one, then I can save. But here you see the current value watched was different. And then if I do reload, this is an interesting thing. Now, if we do a reload, this is probably out of sync because I'm not sure if the automation will be fast enough. Yeah, you definitely not be fast enough to capture all the chains. Maybe so. Let's see. Okay. All right. It's actually interesting. Okay. No, nice. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. It's capturing. So this is coming from the QVD, not from the database. That's why it aligns at the same time. If I check the Snowflake, it also have the new chains. So if I go here, executed, what was the record? Was the record number 4, I guess? 3. So if I go record 3, watch it, yes, because it's running the automation. So be careful with that, how you synchronize the data if you use this data in your application. So just keep that in mind. So you don't have asynchronous records. Maybe that's why maybe you have to do this in this application. Anyway, I hope you like it. I hope I answer all the questions about how can you write data permanently so you don't get afraid about the 90 days. That's it. See you next time. Bye.